So I wanted to do a quick tour of my property just so that I have a record of what things look like before I went plant crazy and landscape crazy and just hopefully transform everything to look the way that I want it to. I'm gonna start over on the west side of the property. So right next to our garage, you can see I have these two beautiful evergreens. I love these so much. They're so pretty. They have like little blue flowers on them. I don't know what they are yet. I'm sorry. I don't know much about plants, but I'm working on it and learning as much as I can. Obviously, I'm gonna need all the help that I can get. When you look over here, we've just got this like obviously gross trash can, but this is blank spot and I wanna do all flower beds in here. Our air conditioning is back there behind these wood slates, and so I just want to like make it pretty around there. I've got a couple of my like cacti planters hanging on there right now because I just don't know where to put them right now. And then we turn over here. I would love to like put flower beds all along the side of the driveway leading up to the garage. I just got back from a plant sale at the farmers market that's held by the Master Gardeners Association in our area, and I was super excited because I wanted to get some evergreens, but they're so expensive, and I got these for $15 a piece. Like right now at the local nurseries, these are running like $50 to $100 each. I was super excited to snag these for that price point. My plan for these is I want to plant garden beds along the front of the property. Even though this view is beautiful, this street Monday through Friday in the mornings and the evenings is so ridiculously loud. We didn't know that when we first moved in here. We viewed the property on a weekend and this road was just like no traffic at all. So you're like, oh, what a nice, mostly quiet street. But it's heavily trafficked in the weekdays and it's just so loud. So I'm hoping A, for a little privacy, B, maybe drown out some of the noise when the bigger trucks come through here, because there's a lot of like farms and things down the road, and so they travel this road often. So that's going to be down the road, but hopefully a big flower bed. I want to put some evergreens just for some privacy. And then we come here, I've got there's garden beds along the front of the house and they just really don't make sense to me, to be honest with you. I know the people who used to live here at one point, he was married and I think his wife took pretty good care of the lawn, but I don't think that's been the case for the last few years. Everything is just really overgrown, full of weeds. You can see part of it, they have like white stone and then it goes into black stone. These boxwoods just kind of make no sense. There's like a bunch of boxwoods here, empty space, a boxwood here that's being mushed into this like beautiful Japanese maple, and so I want to save these. Obviously they're beautiful, I know how expensive they are, but they just don't really make sense, and I'm sorry for the traffic noise. You can kind of see what I mean if you're able to hear it on camera, but I would love to pull these out. I'm not sure if I can transplant them. I would love to try and save them and then plant them along the front of the property, maybe sheet them into like spheres or something like that, and then just kind of plant low plants here. This is north facing, so these are primarily shaded flower beds. So I want to put a lot of hostas and heucheras and things like that I know will survive. Right now it's kind of hard because we actually don't have gutters on the house. We're going to be adding gutters pretty soon, hopefully. But right now, without the gutters, all of the rain just falls into these flower beds. So I'm scared anything I plant's going to get drowned out. So we've got some pretty stuff here. Obviously, this is, I think, the nicest part of the flower bed. But I just need to pull a lot of this out and then weed it. I want to mulch, obviously. It's going to be a pretty big project. This is beautiful. It's getting ready to bloom soon, hopefully. I love that this is here. The only thing I don't love is that it kind of covers a big chunk of the dining room window. So I'm hoping to prune this down a little bit come this fall. Here is where we're leading up to the front porch. I want to say these are black-eyed Susans. I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. I'm just going to leave them and let them bloom and see what happens. Yesterday I planted a couple of hostas right here, but again, I'm scared they're not going to come up just because all of the water from the top of the roof, because our roof is angled right here, just pours into this area. And when I was trying to dig to plant the hostas, it's just like the stone that you can see, it just is all the way down. So like all of this under the soil is just like 6 or 7 inches of stone, and I'm guessing this was their solution to not having gutters on the house. So we're gonna work on that. And then on this side, I started doing a little work. I weeded out most of this area. I planted a couple elephant ears here, some ferns here. I bought these hostas at the plant sale today. This area mostly stays shaded. I get a little bit of sun in this area here in the afternoons, but that's pretty much it. So I've got to get some low light plants in this area and just make it pretty. Right here, I'm not going to plant anything until we get the gutters, because again, all the water from the roof just pours into this area, and anything I plant will get drowned out. Then when you come up here, this I believe is a crepe myrtle. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just gonna leave it and see what happens. I'm not crazy about it because this room has a north-facing window, which can get pretty dark, obviously. And I just would like as much light as possible coming into the house, but we'll see how big it gets. And I like the stone border. It probably needs some work, and then obviously a ton of weeding needs to be done. I'm gonna pull out this holly plant. Our inspector told us that it needs to get pulled out because the roots are too close to the foundation of the house and that it could damage it. Even though it's beautiful and an evergreen, he said it needs to come out. Our property line kind of goes right along this fence and the tree. I want to put some garden beds, like I said, all the way around. But the yard is beautiful. I've got some weeding to do. Our neighbors were so sweet, and they came over and mowed our grass because Monty was outside and mowing with a push mower, because we haven't gotten a tractor yet. And they just started laughing and saw us and were like, oh my gosh, please don't do that. We'll mow your yard for you until you get a tractor. So that was so sweet of them. I'm gonna head back here into the back property. So I'm in the back of our property now, and like I said in the house tour, this is just what made me absolutely fall in love with this house. I love all of the trees. There's so many mature trees. The whole back area is wooded, and definitely needs some work there. I'll get into that a little bit when I head over in that direction. But I just love all the trees. This is our bedroom window. So like when I lay in bed in the evenings, or like when I wake up in the morning, I just get this beautiful view. The only thing I don't like about the view is there's a couple like weird horse trailers, or I'm not sure what they are, but they have like weird signs on them. It's not exactly pretty, but I'm hoping the foliage around my next door neighbor's pond back here fills in, and then I just can't see that anymore. It's hard to see it on camera, but you can see it pretty well in person. So I want to put in raised bed garden. I'm really excited about the idea of growing my own food. It's something that I've been looking into and kind of researching and, hoping for years now. And obviously this this yard is like a great place to do that. I'm just trying to figure out what the best placement is, because I have so many trees and I know that it's going to be shaded at this point almost anywhere that I put it. I've been watching the lighting every single day since moving in here, and there's not a single area that I would say gets more than 6 hours of sun. So I'm probably gonna have to cut down a tree. My plan as of right now is to put in like a little greenhouse that I'll make myself here, and then just put in some raised garden beds all along this area, which means I would have to take out this tree. And I hate the idea of cutting down trees, but this tree, there's like 20 of this type of tree, which I have no idea what it is, but there's a bunch of these on my property, so I don't feel as bad taking it out. The only other place I think that raised bed garden would make sense is right here in this area, but that means I would have to take out this tree. And this is like a beautiful maple tree. I'm sure that this is like so pretty in the fall when the colors when the colors change, and I just don't want to take it out. So I'd rather take out this tree, since I already have a couple of these, and then put it here along the edge. I also plan on getting chickens, and I'm not sure if I'm going to free range them or if I'm gonna have like a chicken run. I'm kind of wary of predators. I know there's a ton of hawks around here because of the trees. So I'm just gonna kind of observe for a while and do some more work before I like take on the challenge of chickens. But this is an overview of the property. If you come along here, they used to have, like I said, horses and dogs. And so I think that this is like just the dog's path where it would run. And it's also rain runoff. You can't really tell on camera, but it's a pretty deep divot. And so right now my plan is to put like a rock garden here to help with the rain runoff, and then turn this all into landscaping flower beds. We would love to put like an outdoor kitchen and a gazebo and a fireplace out here, but that would be super far down the road. If I did that, that would probably go in this area, somewhere back here. Right here we have our back patio. Oops. Right here we have our back patio. This doghouse is not ours. The previous owners left it. I'm probably just gonna post it on Facebook Marketplace and just give it away. We don't have a need for it. We have a dog, but he stays inside at night, and he wouldn't use that. So I want to put some like beautiful tall planters here with flowers, and you know, our grill, and I've got some patio furniture. Right now our property is not graded really well, but it goes downhill, and then the runoff goes along this property into French drains. So you can kind of see this is all where water runs off, and again, no gutters, so all of the rain comes here. I'm hoping the gutters fixes a lot of these issues that we're having, but I may have to just keep this stone for water runoff. And then I want to turn this into a big flower bed that just kind of goes along the back. Our neighbors are really sweet, but I just want a little bit of privacy if I'm out here, and kind of hide some of the ugly infrastructure back here. It's really nice that we have these evergreens, give us a little bit of you know, shade in the evenings, and you know, just gives us some privacy from the neighbors. I'm sorry, I've said privacy like 40 times, but I can't think of a better word. This tree is so beautiful, and I love it so much. Oh my gosh, I almost just tripped over the doghouse. You can see it from our sliding glass door. So I'm standing right at the sliding glass door, and I don't know what this is, but this tree is just constantly buzzing. It's so full of life. Pollinators love this tree. There's like 1,000 bees and bugs and flying around this tree, feeding off these little flowers all the time. If it was an uglier tree or not a pollinator friendly tree, I would tear it out, because it blocks a view from our kitchen, our dining room, and through this big glass sliding door. And so I just can't see the yard. And so it definitely needs to be limbed up. Also, when we're out here, it's like this, the space between the concrete and this branch is like 3 feet. So we'd have to like walk underneath this to get in the yard. You know, once I put flower beds, you won't be able to get through here. So it definitely needs to be limbed up, but I want to try and save it just because it's, you know, just such a cool tree, and it's really pollinator friendly. That's my dog. And then when you come out here, this right here, I'm gonna build a big fire pit area, gravel, you know, have some cool chairs out here, you know, so we can sit around a fire with our friends and whatnot. You can see I've kind of been cleaning up the back property a bit, pulling all of these sticks out. If you hear talking in the background, I'm sorry, that's Monty on the phone. And then I'll walk over here to the tree line. This kind of is a weird setup, and I'm not sure what kind of trees they are or why they are planted the way they are. When you look this way, it doesn't look bad, but when I turn sideways, they were planted in perfect rows, and I'm not sure like what the idea behind that was, but it's so bizarre. Sorry, I just put my hand in front of the camera. It's so bizarre because it makes it like an unusable space, and they're planted so close together that a lot of the trees are just choking each other out. Like all of these lower branches, they're all dead. They don't get any sunlight, and it's only the very tips of the trees that have leaves. some of it's worse than others. Like this one here, like only the top like 3 or 4 feet of the tree has leaves. I don't really know like what the decision behind this was. They're not fruiting trees, so it's not an orchard, but I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I know taking out trees is expensive and I feel guilty cutting down trees, but they just all look dead for the most part, except for the very tips. So I figure if we thin them out, it might help that and then make the space a little bit more usable. As you continue to walk, there is a huge like ravine here. You can kind of see it come through this area because the property is sloped this way into our neighbor's yard. They have a French drain that goes out to more drains back along that fence. So this is just like nothing but mud. I would love to turn this into like a rock garden or a waterfall or a pond at some point, but I know how expensive those are and the maintenance involved. So, you know, we'll see. That's that's kind of one of those dreams that probably won't come true, but it's a possibility. The other thing about these trees that drives me nuts is so many leaves. There's nothing but leaves back here. These leaves go like 6 inches deep. They clearly haven't been picked up or raked or mulched in a very long time. So it's just so much cleanup. And like I said, it just makes all of this land unusable, really. There's nothing I could do back here. The space between the trees, like from tree to tree, is, I don't know, 12 feet probably. It's just such a bizarre thing to me. If you have any idea for like the 2 people that may come across this, like what is the point of this, let me know. I'd love to know. As you come to the back of the property, we have a lot of moss and grass and it's really pretty. I would love to let this go to more of like a pastured look. Just kind of let it go free. There's a lot of like wildflowers back here, wild onions. I thought about putting the raised garden bed back here. Since this is south, there's no shade that comes in from here, but it's so far from my hoses and my water source, and I'm gonna plan on hand watering everything. That just would make it a pain in the butt to have to walk all the way back to the house every single day just to get my hose and then run it across this huge, it wouldn't make sense. And then also, I think the reason why this is the only unplanted space is because our Seward septic system might be back here. I don't know. We're gonna have someone come and take a look. The previous owner said he had not had it serviced since moving in, and so we're just gonna have it looked at and serviced and hopefully figure out where it is. But my suspicion tells me that it's gonna be back here just because it's the only place that doesn't have trees planted. Also, there's a bunch of little holes back here in the ground, and I bet it's gophers. So, yeah, you can see there's one right here. I'm sure that will make my gardening quite difficult, but it is what it is. Our neighbor's house is so pretty. They have another big pond back there. So there's one there, and then there's one there. I wish we had a pond. Maybe we'll turn that ugly, muddy ravine into a pond one day. But I just think this is so pretty. I love all the wildflowers, and my crazy dog absolutely loves just exploring and running around. He and I have been living in a city apartment in Dallas, and so he's just so happy to like have space to run free. You know, I'm a millennial, as they say. People are buying houses for their dogs, not for their kids these days, and that's pretty true with me. You can see the back corner. It's just really pretty. I love the tall grasses, and Monty hates it. He wants to mow it down because he says it looks trashy, but I think it looks pretty. So we'll see. I know there's a lot of, I think they're called nettles, purple nettles. They were blooming. They kind of look a little rough right now. But there's these all over. They had purple flowers on them when we first moved in 2 weeks ago. And then there's bird houses all along the fence posts. So we have tons of wildlife, and I just love it back here. It's so pretty. Sounds like our neighbors are shooting some guns.